Advanced Studio Classroom is on the air. An automated cafe serves up coffee. We'll talk about it on today's program. Hello everyone and welcome back to Advanced Studio Classroom. My name is Brandon and today we are on day 2 of our business article. In the studio with me I have Albert and Linda. Welcome panelists.
Hi.
Hello.
And what did we talk about yesterday, Albert?
We talked about a trendy shoemaker who is making really unique custom designs with heat-sensitive, temperature-changing shoes.
Yeah, it's really cool, and you can go on to the Instagram account there at Sir Castle Tees to find out more. And you just mentioned his heat-sensitive shoes, Albert. And tell us a little bit more about that. Give us a recap. Maybe some of our listeners didn't hear that yesterday.
Right, so he uses this paint that uses heat as the catalyst. Well, a catalyst, as we talked about yesterday, is something that starts a reaction in something else, and it causes the change. So when you're indoors, it's one color. When you go outdoors and the sun is shining, it'll change to a different color. And when you want it to go back to its original shade, you just douse it in cold water.
Okay. Linda, welcome back. What did you learn from yesterday?
Well, I thought his whole concept was very unique, and also that it started when he was in high school, this dream of his, or, this love of his, and then he developed it into a whole business.
All right. Yes, he had this dream. He developed it. He's still dreaming. He said he wants to dream up more designs, and so that's what he is set out to do. And he is also giving back. He's helping those at the Boys and Girls Club, children who are in need. And he's also helping students who are making good grades. He's giving them discounts. And so he's not only, making a profit, he's giving back to the community. Okay, so we are talking about zeroing in on 2 trendy companies. We discussed one yesterday. We talked about the shoemaker. Today, we are switching gears and we're talking about an automated cafe. Again, that word automated, Linda, what does it mean?
It means automatic. It doesn't require a human to operate this cafe, so it's fully automatic.
All right, and so it involves coffee, and that makes me happy. Albert, are you a coffee drinker?
I am a coffee drinker every day.
Every day you drink coffee?
Yes.
You can't start your day without a cup of coffee. Is that how you feel? Is that true?
That's how I feel, but I read recently how you're not supposed to drink coffee in the first thing in the morning. You're supposed to wait till like 10 a.m.-ish, because apparently when you wake up, your body starts pumping like adrenaline and endorphins, so you kind of get like a natural kick.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for that natural kick to kick in.
You need to talk to your body.
How about you, Linda? Are you a coffee consumer?
An occasional one. I don't need to have coffee every day.
Oh, good for you.
And how many cups do you have daily?
Well, what do you mean by a cup? I mean, I have sitting right here in front of me a kind of large cup, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's just a tumbler. I think about 4 cups of coffee can fit in it. And so that's about how many I drink, which I think is within the recommended amount, right?
Or you'd like to believe so.
Maybe at the end of the recommendation, much more than that would probably not be good. Well, we are talking about this automated cafe. We are on page 31. So if you have your magazines, open it up, or you can follow along on your digital device. Right now, we will have our first reading for today.
Automated Cafe sets up shop in tech-crazy, fancy coffee-loving San Francisco. As Katie Franco waited for her morning coffee, Passers-by pulled out their phones and snapped photos and videos of her barista. Another woman drifted toward the barista and asked, "What's going on here?" Franco's barista was a robot. It's part of an automated coffee shop called Cafe X, the latest example of San Francisco's dual infatuations: artisanal coffee and automated technology. "It's incredibly convenient," said Franco, "and the coffee is really good, too." Moments earlier, Franco had ordered her coffee using the Cafe X mobile app. Now, a white robotic arm was moving around a paper cup, pushing on syrup levers and brewing her a hot cup of coffee. "I prefer this because you don't have to wait," said Franco, whose coffee was made in less than a minute.
Okay, Automated Cafe sets up shop in tech-crazy, fancy, coffee-loving San Francisco. We have a lot of adjectives there, Linda. Tech-crazy.
Well, they're crazy about technology.
There you go, okay. And then fancy, coffee-loving San Francisco. So apparently the folks in San Francisco love their coffee, right?
That is true. They have, I think, block for block, one of the more expensive coffee shops around town.
Okay. I have never been to San Francisco.
Oh.
I'd like to go. Are there lots of coffee shops there?
There are a lot of coffee shops there.
Okay. Well, there are also a lot of coffee shops here in Taipei. So I guess we could, say that Taipei is a coffee-loving city. So anyway, that's where this is taking place, this automated cafe. And we meet Katie Franco. And what is she doing?
She's waiting for her morning coffee.
We can all relate to that. If you like coffee, you can relate to that. You're waiting for your morning cup of coffee. And then what happens next?
Well, passers-by pull out their phone because they're snapping photos of her barista.
Okay, and passers-by, those are the people passing by. That's the way to really remember that. And that is the plural usage there. Of course, as you see it there under in the list, the vocabulary focus list, it says passer-by. That's talking about one person. Okay, that's the singular usage. So passers-by pulled out their phones and snapped photos and videos of her barista. So I don't normally do that when I go to the coffee shop. I don't pull out my phone and take photos of the barista. What is a barista, first of all?
That's usually a person who is making the coffee. They're trained to make and serve coffee.
I like that you said the word usually because in this case, it's a machine.
Right, it's not
Surprise.
a person.
All right, so another woman drifted toward the barista and asked, "What's going on here?" If you drift, what are you doing, Albert?
You kind of just float towards.
All right.
Or move over slowly.
So maybe she saw the people taking photos and videos and she's thinking, what's going on over there? So she goes and asks, what's going on?
Right. And it turns out the barista is a robot.
Okay. Surprise! It's a robot. Maybe not a surprise in our day, but so Franco's barista was a robot. It's part of an automated coffee shop called Cafe X. Tell us more about this cafe.
It is the latest example of San Francisco's dual infatuations with artisanal coffee and automated technology.
Okay, so if you're infatuated with something,
When you're infatuated, you have strong but usually not lasting feelings of love or attraction.
okay, that's why you were referencing Sally.
Yeah,
this
of course.
fictional
Yes,
person.
of course. But yeah, usually like in high school, you have young love and people, it's usually infatuations where they don't know the person. And so it's something that doesn't last.
Doesn't last.
It's usually
right?
short-lived.
That's right.
And you
Okay.
can be infatuated, about and things as well,
All right. And so they give examples here, artisanal coffee and automated technology. So they're saying, maybe this won't last, right? We'll have to see. Maybe their love for it will not necessarily last. That word artisanal.
Yeah, so here it can mean something of high quality, but it can also mean done by hand, right, or done using traditional methods.
Okay.
And in this case, it's not traditional, and it's done by a robotic hand. So it's kind of
Right.
like twist.
Yeah.
But usually of high quality.
Okay. Well, it's convenient. Franco says it's incredibly convenient, and that always draws me in. And I think a lot of us, if you live in a big city, you're used to convenience. And so here's one more way to have something that's convenient. And the coffee is good. So you have convenience and quality coming together.
Right. Because usually when we get a coffee from a machine, it doesn't taste very good. Like those
that's
machines, coffee machines that you find in a hospital or, it's just something that's really
Is
convenient.
it really coffee? That's the question.
You guys
Is it
are
really
just,
coffee?
you guys are
need
just too
some
picky.
Caffeine.
Yes, so we don't normally see this, so that is something to take note of. Well, moments earlier, Franco had ordered her coffee using the Cafe X mobile app. And this plays into the convenience, right?
Right. Everyone is on their smartphone. Maybe you're on your way to work and you're like, you know what? I need a cup of coffee this morning. Just pull up the app, select what you like, and swinging arm, it's the glass. It's not really needed, right? You have a traditional coffee vending machine and everything's hidden and it doesn't look as fancy. But do you really need a swiveling arm to give you the cup of coffee?
You don't, but I guess it adds to what they want.
Right.
The look, right?
Yeah, and the feel of it, it's still artisanal coffee.
And you're being
there's
served.
a hand that is making it.
That personal touch. It's
sells
not
the
really
quality.
personal, but it appears to be personal,
It's a blend of convenience.
They're playing mind games.
Yeah.
I mean, they still want it to be fancy, so it just can't come shooting out of a, slot.
Shoot. Yeah.
Well, Franco says that she prefers this because she doesn't have to wait. And that's a key point.
Yes.
Right.
Her coffee was made in less than a minute. All right.
So I wonder, when it says moments earlier, so does she have to get there to order the coffee, or does she? How much earlier can you order your coffee
what I'm
for it to
wondering,
be?
too.
Yeah, do you if you order it maybe minutes before because it only takes a minute? Once you get there, do you just scan something and then it will do it and shoot it out to you?
I don't know. Maybe once she gets
that is making it.
that personal touch. It's
sells
not
the
really
quality.
personal, but it appears to be personal.
It's a blend of convenience.
They're playing mind games.
Yeah.
I mean, they still want it to be fancy, so it just can't come shooting out of a, slot.
Shoot. Yeah.
Well, Franco says that she prefers this because she doesn't have to wait. And that's a key point.
Yes.
Right.
Her coffee was made in less than a minute. All right.
So I wonder, when it says moments earlier, so does she have to get there to order the coffee, or does she? How much earlier can you order your coffee
what I'm
for it to
wondering,
be?
too.
Yeah. Do you if you order it maybe minutes before because it only takes a minute? Once you get there, do you just scan something and then it will do it and shoot it out to you?
I don't know. Maybe once
to
she
be-
gets very close, within just a couple of minutes or something, you can do that because it is quite fast.
Yeah, it only takes a
so,
minute.
If you know
Less-
that ahead of time, maybe you just about how long it takes. But how long is the line, or how many people in front of you? How much of a difference does that make? So I don't know, all the details of how they have that figured out.
Right.
But it's kind of neat. And I think they have maybe technicians that can come by and, fix things and so forth if need be. And so I believe there are people involved in some way or the other if there is a need for that as well. Because it can't be totally automated. Things can go wrong. There still needs to be a human there.
Right. If something happens.
Yeah, if
I'm
something
sure.
happens and so forth, or maybe to check on it or something. Well, that is the beginning of this. We've set it up for you, this automated cafe. Maybe there will be one near you soon. I don't know. So many things are becoming automated. But let's find out more about it. Stay with us right there on page 31, and we will have our next reading for today.
comments like Franco's ring as validation to Henry Hu's ears. Hu, a 23-year-old college dropout who founded Cafe X, envisioned his coffee kiosk as the answer to long waits at coffee shops. A well-made cup of coffee delivered quickly, efficiently, and at a relatively low cost. People, millennials in particular, don't want to wait in line, said Ben Ling, an investor from Khosla Ventures. Is automation avoidable? Automation helps keep costs low for business owners, which in turn makes products and services more affordable for consumers, Ling said. That's why automation, particularly in the food service and hospitality industries, seems inevitable. With job loss a top issue in today's political environment, a coffee shop that does away with baristas or a lunch spot that does away with waitstaff could be a reason for outrage. But in its first weeks of operation, Cafe X has drawn fast-moving lines and curious crowds who snap photos and videos of the kiosk.
Next, we meet the founder of Cafe X. And what is his name, Linda?
Henry Hu.
Okay, and he's happy to hear comments like Franco's comments, and they ring as validation. That word validation, Albert.
It's something that I'm still seeking. Oh, yeah. Validation means to make something officially acceptable or approved, especially after examining it.
Okay, so you said you're still seeking that. You were kind of joking, maybe. Seeking validation. You want approval, right? For something. And so we see here that Mr. Hu, he takes this as a validation, the comments from Franco. He takes that to mean that he is doing a good job, that his company is so far successful. He likes hearing these kinds of comments. He's 23 years old, and he's a college dropout. So if you're a college dropout, Linda?
You left college before graduation.
All right. So when we see that, usually we kind of maybe look down on that, or some people may look down on that. You didn't finish college? But here we see that, in spite of that, he's still successful, Albert.
Yeah, he envisioned his coffee kiosk, and a kiosk is a small machine or structure in a public space that is used to sell merchandise. We see that in malls in the States. And so, his kiosk is an answer to long waits at coffee shops. Mm-hmm. He aims for a well-made cup of coffee delivered quickly, efficiently, and at a relatively low cost.
Okay, and kiosks, we also see them at the airport.
Yeah, we see them everywhere in the train station. There's 7-Eleven kiosks,
that's
right there.
They are everywhere, and they help us to do things quickly. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it's quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. The kiosk in 7-Eleven, usually, at least in Taipei, it's called iBon, where you can buy train tickets and concert tickets.
Yes, all sorts of things. So that's a kiosk. And so we see here that, people don't want long waits, but they also want a well-made cup of coffee. And so that's what they're going for here, efficiency at a low cost. And usually those things don't come together. But these days, it is coming together more and more, where you can have efficiency and something that's relatively low. And that word relatively is important. It's relative to other things around it, or relative to maybe other coffee shops.
Right. I remember growing up, I had a teacher explain to us, if you want something that's high quality, it will either take time or money. And if you want something fast, it will either come out as cheap.
Right.
In terms of quality. And now, with automation, it's reaching a point where we can have the best of both worlds.
Yeah. And people don't want to wait in line, especially these days if you're used to
Whoever
having
wants
something.
to wait in line.
Right. They're used to getting things quickly. Here, we hear from Ben Ling. He's an investor from a firm, and He says people, millennials in particular, don't want to wait in line. Why are we always talking about millennials, Albert?
I'm not sure, but I feel like Linda made a good point. It's like I feel like people in general do not like waiting in line because it feels like it's an inefficient use of your time. You feel like, you should be doing something else. Although, truthfully, I feel like it's just time for Facebook.
Yeah. Well, that's
and
true.
Millennials, because they're maybe more impatient. They're not used to waiting because
Right.
everything is instantaneous.
Sure.
Automatic.
But I think more and more people feel that way, whether you're a millennial or not. But maybe especially so for millennials because they've had things that way most of their life, if not all their life. Right? Things coming at them very quickly. Well, is automation avoidable? Okay, can we avoid automation? Because when we talk about things being automated, some people think, oh, is my job in danger? And we've talked about that, about robots replacing your jobs and so
Right.
forth. And so that's why we're thinking about this. Is it avoidable, Linda?
Well, we find out that it might not be. Anyway, automation, it helps to keep costs low for business owners, and that in turn makes products and services cheaper, more
Okay.
affordable for us, the consumers.
So in the near term, it sounds great for a consumer, cheaper, prices and so forth. And but if you're working in a particular industry, for example, if you're working in a coffee shop, you may see this and think, oh no, is my job in danger? So it just depends on which perspective you're coming from.
Right. I feel like, am I the only one that feels like he would prefer it the other way around, where I would like a person to make the food and to interact with a robot instead? Because I feel like I've been eating sandwiches from 7-Eleven, and they're just like the same every day. There's no variances. And I feel like if a human was to make it, there would be a little change in the
Right.
quality or consistency.
Right. But I think to me, they're two different things.
Okay.
Obviously, yes, I would like a person to make the coffee and give it to me. But if I am in a hurry, I would like to get my coffee, as quickly as possible. And so it just depends on what I'm doing
Right.
and what I need in that moment.
Well, I know that in 2015, Starbucks rolled out its mobile app, and you could, tap ahead of time, when you're leaving your house, you can place an order, and then usually it'll give you ETA, or you can set like, oh, I'm about to arrive at this time. Can you please have it ready? And
Can you do that in Asia as well?
Ooh, not that I'm not too sure.
Right. I'm not sure if you can do that here, but yes, I know you can do that in the U.S.
Right.
For other coffee shops, you
Yes.
can.
Right.
With Louisa, at least in Taipei. Yeah.
Right.
So it might just depend on the particular coffee shop, but there are many things. Many things are becoming more and more convenient, right? With
Yeah.
apps and technology and so forth, and so maybe you don't really need this kind of kiosk.
Yes.
You can just order online. That's another way. Okay, so we see that that's why automation, particularly in the food service and hospitality industries, seems inevitable. Okay, we're talking about. Is automation avoidable? It looks like it's not.
Right.
It seems
Might
inevitable.
be unavoidable.
Right. And the word inevitable?
And it just means that it's unavoidable. It can't be avoided. Right?
Okay.
It's going to happen no matter what.
Particularly in the food service and hospitality industries. That's what we're focusing on here. It may happen more often there. There may be more automation in those industries. Well, job loss is, of course, something we talk about often. And we talk about it, in today's political environment. That's what's talked about a lot. A coffee shop that does away with baristas or a lunch spot that does away with wait staff, this could cause some people to become upset.
Yes. I feel like namely the person, who would have had that job, but it's now been replaced by a robot. I feel like this kind of happens throughout history, like the printing press came out and the people who were copying books by hand were kind of out of a job for a while. But it's just this transitional period where, I think overall in the grand scheme of things, the quality of life becomes better. And there are, really poor experiences when there's this transition. But I mean, as we can see, in the first weeks of operation, Cafe X has drawn fast-moving lines and cures crowds. It seems like a welcome machine.
Right.
Yeah, even though someone's probably lost their job over it.
Well, of course, if you see this kiosk in the mall or wherever it is and you want it, it's convenient, you're probably going to use it unless you're just against automation. That's a principle or something you have, which is fine. But most people are going to use it, so it's not surprising that it's drawn fast-moving lines. But there are others that may be against it.
Yeah, that's true. And also, it's a novelty right now, so people might just want to try it out. But who knows if they will continue using it for their daily coffee.
Right.
But yeah, people could be opposed to getting their coffee from a machine or getting their food from a machine. They'd rather have a person bring their food to them. But it's also, just changing with the times as well. So I don't think restaurants at any time soon will be completely, void of wait staff.
It's really nice to have the human touch, right?
No, I feel like you made a really good point. I have seen it seems like a resurgence with people going towards things like home or local grown, support the small business instead of the huge corporation outlets. Right. So it seems like options are really good.
That's right. Yeah. And we see though that this kiosk, it is efficient and space saving as we take a look at our sidebar there. On the speed front, Cafe X can make a hot espresso beverage in less than a minute and is able to pump out 120 coffee drinks in an hour. That's a lot, right? A Cafe X kiosk can occupy as little as 50 square feet, although its footprint in San Francisco's Metron shopping mall is a little over 100 square feet and was most recently home to another automated tenant, a Bank of America ATM. So that gives you an idea of how small this kiosk really is. It doesn't look terribly small there in the photo, but an ATM was in that area before, right?
Yeah, the ATM was double the size of what this kiosk requires. It only requires 50 square feet.
All right, so, maybe if you run into one of these coffee kiosks, you can try it out. Let us know what you think. Write into us at letters@studioclassroom.com and give us your thoughts. We have come to the end of our business article. We thank you for joining us the past couple of days. We hope you have enjoyed these two topics, and we hope you will join us again next time here on Advanced Studio Classroom. Until then, this is Brandon,
Linda,
and Albert
saying goodbye.
Goodbye.